Anyway, um, man, this panel, the CNN panel right here, was talking about um the tariffs and stuff like that. It's that's the hot butt topic right now, the trade tariffs, and Trump pausing them, and then he increasing with China, and China coming back with their own set of tariffs, and it's a big mess. But turn about on there, and yeah, things go off the rails. So let me play it, man. Um, let me play it. Hold on. There we go.
That is not livable.
And the trade, honestly, the trade is asymmetrical.
And who voted for Donald Trump?
Precisely. Trade is asymmetrical with China. We imported over 439 billion products from China. We
Oh, Tiffany Cross. Man, she look different. What she did to herself? She look different. Maybe she probably do that herself. Maybe it's a hairdo. She look different. I didn't realize who the hell that was because she looks so different.
exported over 140 billion from China. Their own foreign ministry.
By the way, another MSNBC reject.
Has said we will not flinch. We will not genuflect to a bullying government. I respectfully disagree.
Though, Tiffany, that we rely so much on an adversary to make most of our goods.
Listen, whether it bothers me or not is irrelevant. I'm dealing with reality.
Well, let me say this: like, if it wasn't for Bill Clinton and the TPP and NAFTA, like most of those jobs where we used to make stuff would still be here. Like, it's not China's fault. Like, people got to get that out their head. Like, what China gonna do? Reject? You're not, have an opportunity to manufacture stuff. Like any country would love to do that. Like, like with the COVID pandemic, we don't make masks. We don't even make masks. The masks we need to protect ourselves. Right? Talk about those surgical masks. Like, we didn't make the ventilators and all that stuff was made overseas. Like, that's why a lot of people died too, because a lot of these hospitals didn't have enough ventilators, and then they had to choose who lives or dies. Like that's a time in history that nobody wants to think about, but I don't think, God forbid, the next pandemic happen. Like, we ain't gonna be ready, because a lot of people have some distrust in the healthcare sector, which I disagree with, but people feel how they feel. Like, a lot of misinformation out there, but it is what it is. But yeah, like, I don't understand, like, but when you increase the tariffs on goods and services, it puts a burden on us. Like, I don't get what that guy was saying, but okay, then let me continue.
It is important, but this is what it is.
Why does it have to be the reality that we are dependent on so many things to come out of our biggest adversary in the world? They are the enemy, and we should not be dependent on them.
But no, they are not our enemy. They're our biggest trading partner. And if
if China was our biggest enemy, like she said, why we trade with them so much? Like your enemy, you're supposed to hate your enemy, right? Except you're a Christian, you are taught you're supposed to love your enemies. You're supposed to love them and cherish them, even though they fucking stab you in the back. But not gonna get there. That's religious standpoint, but I don't understand. I just don't get what, like, China's not our enemy, bro. If China was such a bad actor, why is, like, other countries working with why the Belt and Road initiatives in Africa, why those are going its planned, and a lot of other stuff, and because they full of shit. They want a I'm gonna say imaginary war with China. Like, I know they ain't talking about hand-to-hand combat, because China gonna whoop our ass, but and then shout out to Left Independent, aka Mike. He said that the military is 75% capacity, which, again, you need more than 75% to run a military. But anyway, yeah, China's not our enemy, guys. Like, they lie. That's all corporate media does, is lie to you day in and day out, and these politicians lie too as well. Okay, if China's our enemy, in hell, Stop trading with them then. Stop trading with them. Bring all the manufacturing back to America. Let's build our own shit. I don't have no problem with that. Hey, these should be high paying jobs, which that's why China got those jobs, because they don't want to pay American people living wages. They want to pay them poverty wages. They want them to slave hard and basically doing modern day indentured servitude. So yeah, it's full of shit.
And you don't.
They're the enemy.
Right,
Well, they have
but
more
listen,
than us.
but like it or not, sure, Michael, they are our biggest trading partner. And if we were to manufacture iPhones here, iPhones would cost $3,500. The American people are not going to tolerate that. We have one of the highest standards of working conditions here. I don't think that we can say forget you, China. They
So it's
literally.
okay. So you're okay. Hold on, sure, Michael. So you're okay. You're okay if we continue to put our own economic and national security future in the hands of our biggest enemy, because effectively they use slave labor to build stuff, and that makes it better for us. That is terrible.
I am 100% not okay with that, but I'm dealing in the reality
but
of
you are.
what is.
Do you want to change it?
But we need to.
A lot of that stuff is not true. See how they lie? They said, "Oh, they have sweatshops and and they have sweatshops and all this stuff." First of all, those are not sweatshops. See how they lie? Yeah, there are sweatshops in this country, in this world. Hell, you could say somebody getting paid $7.25 an hour. That's a sweatshop type of job. Work. I mean, not type of jobs. Sweatshop type of wage. You can't. If China working conditions so harsh, then why most of their people, like, if they working conditions so harsh and they're not making any wages, like, will they have a homeless crisis there? I don't think so. So, and then they eradicated homelessness damn near. So, like, compared here, homelessness is steadily going up. And shout out to Data Report. He said a lot of people are behind on their mortgages because of long COVID, because we didn't get COVID under control. That's another story for another day. But yeah, like, all these lies that these people tell you day to day, man, don't listen to that shit, bro. Do your own research, man. Like, I recommend y'all go on Red Note. Ask these some of these Chinese users on there. Ask them how is it in China. Like, out of the people in China thought people in the United States were rich. And I think, some Palestinians think that, because when they be asking me for mutual aid and stuff, they think like, hey, you can, like, stuff like that. But, like, people have a perception of the United States that's not true. And people have a perception of China that's not true. So it is what it is.
I absolutely want to change it. I don't know that changing it means isolating us on the global stage.
So what happens?
With these
Tiffany,
tariffs
if I could ask, what happens if we ever have a military conflict with China and they say, you know what, we're going to put an embargo on anything shipping to the United States. We're going to stop everything. What happens then?
Don't you think
I think
in
we're
that
looking at that
situation we
because
would want to have friends?
Not China.
No. I'm saying allies, not the ones that, like, people that we put tariffs on in the last week. Wouldn't you think that what we would want is to build trading relationships with people who like us?
Fair trade relationships that benefit the United States and not our friends. That's not a good friendship. That's an abusive relationship.
Fair relationships with people who are our friends. Wouldn't that be the right strategy?
I would agree with fair.
But what happened over the last week was not that. What happened over the last week was that we said we're going to treat Britain and France and the EU like China. We're going to just take the same formula we use for China and slap it on our friends. Does that make any sense to you?
What makes sense to me is to decrease the trade issues that we have with other countries.
My thing is this: the reason why that happened, why he decided to put tariffs on the EU is because for his robber Barry buddies to loot the treasury. That was the issue. But yeah, it don't make sense. I mean, China supposed to be the enemy, but you doing the same thing to China, what you doing to the EU. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. The only part, Europe, yeah, like the way to me, the way Trump put these tariffs down, call it Liberation Day. Liberation, get it? Of course, right? And then all of a sudden turns them off, and the stock market goes up. Like this is why financial experts say, yeah, this guy, yeah, this is not good.
I think that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to me that our friends across the globe have a benefit to trading with the United States and American workers do not. I mean, these deficiencies do exist.
Why do you want to repair 70 years of imbalance? And I agree fully with both of you that the trade relationship vis-a-vis the United States had to be readjusted.
You've talked about it.
Yes, but you don't do it overnight. And you don't offend your allies while you're doing it with the whole Greenland, 51st state, Japan. You just don't do that. Not if you're going to turn around in goodness knows when and say, can we have your help?
It's a colonizer's attitude to say, I like it.
Like, yeah, the 51st state shit. Like, my thing is, if you Canada and Greenland, you got healthcare. Why the fuck you want to be the 51st state to the United States, where some parts of the country is poverty-stricken, like Mississippi, for example, or some parts of Louisiana is poverty-stricken, Alabama, like, and then they don't provide their own citizens with health care. Yeah, fuck that.
I'm just going to steal it. Now, the fact of the matter
Steal
is,
what?
in this new land, you cannot just go and say, I like it, it's mine now. It doesn't work that way. Well, that is what they're trying to do. And in this new world.
Well, the United States, that the United States did. I mean, colonization has been happening forever. Like the Europeans, like they came over, and took the land from the Native Americans, then pushed the Native Americans west. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing new, but okay. I see what she's saying, but yeah, that's nothing new. It's been happening forever. Like, the United States is a colonizer. Like, Trump is doing old school colonization. Hey, I want Greenland. The only reason why he won't Greenland because oil, Mister. We invaded Syria to take the oil. Like, he's basically doing the same thing. Here we go.
World order. Yeah, absolutely. When they're looking at Greenland and say, I like it, I want to take it for mine. That is a very colonizing.
You have said you are pro.
I have never ever said we're going to go to Greenland and quote colonize it or steal it.
You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point. I'm talking about the president of the United States doing that.
You got fired from your job.
You can agitate.
Damn! You got fired for your job. Damn. See, she get personal. Damn. Let me go back 10 seconds, man. Holy crap. Oh my God. Oh shit, man. Man, these pedals get personal sometimes, man. Golly. Wow. You got fired from your job.
We're going to go to Greenland and quote colonize it or steal it.
You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point. I'm talking about the president of the United States doing that.
You got fired from your job.
She got quiet. Look at her. Look at Tiffany Crawford. Damn, you right. Damn, son. Damn. Wow. Yeah. Scott Jennings, a former politician, ain't he? And Tiffany Cross used to work at MSDNC. Yeah, jobless. So, one of them work for a podcast. I don't know what the fuck he do. I guess he a contributor or whatnot. But yeah. Oh wow.
If you want to engage in personal insults,
but you
what
do.
you lack in a legitimate point, you make up for in personal input.
I don't. You
personal
do.
insults. The point I am making is in this new world order, we are looking at countries, whether or not they're an adversary or ally, it is being determined on what kind of deal we can get. And we cannot govern, we cannot legislate that way. We are increasingly isolated on the world stage.
No, we're not.
So if you want to engage in personal insults,
we're not
if I were
isolated.
you, I would reserve that for your party, who
We're
is
not
increasingly isolated. This globe, our position
outside of the United States have you all spoken to in the last few weeks?
A lot.
Several.
I've been speaking to you frequently over the
I like they playing it all. man, it really, it'll heat it. Like, it's coming back. Like, hey, but yeah, man, like, these terrorists, man, they just, Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, yeah. Increase like Trump wants to. He want to put on a facade that he's, he want to bring jobs back to America. That's the purpose. That's what he claims these tariffs for. But in all actuality, he don't want to bring jobs back to America. He wants to make his billionaire robber barons richer. But a few more seconds of this.
You're my main ambassador.
You're slowly
No,
your point,
I speak to a lot of Europeans, I speak to a lot of Panamanians, I speak to a lot of Central Americans, and they think, I'll tell you what they think. They think he's acting like a dictator. They think he's acting a lot like Ortega in Nicaragua, a lot like Maduro in Venezuela, a lot like they act in Cuba.
Are they serious when they say that?
Oh, no.
Yes.
By the way,
Dictatorship?
I know now. Well, she ain't gonna say Julio Castro. I bet y'all gonna try to say Julio Castro. Julio Castro not a dictator. Like again, like that's what they do when they don't like your politics. They call you a dictator. The only reason why they call Trump a dictator, is because they don't like Trump. I mean, Trump to me is a fascist. I wouldn't consider him a dictator. He's a fascist. Like Joe Biden is a fascist. Obama was a fascist. Bush or Clinton was a fascist. Hell, we go all the way back to Reagan. Reagan was a fascist. All these motherfuckers are fascists, bro. So
attack on the free press.
I was in
Attack on the free press.
I was in Brussels last week.
Wanting to stay in power. Yes.
Hang on, guys.
Dictatorship. We're not
one
even
at a time.
close to dictatorship in the United States.
Absolutely.
Anna Navarro, ain't she part of the Lincoln Project? Yeah, that Anna Lincoln Project just hate Trump because Trump is he's too overt with his language. Like they like the shit Trump's doing. They just world order type. Lincoln Project is a world order type of organization. Like gotta govern world order. They like war and shit too. But with Trump, Trump says the quiet parts are loud a lot.
United States.
Did you see what he did?
Hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. One at a time, please.
Who defended the 2020 election results, who worked for him, asked for the DOJ to investigate him. That's what dictators do.
We're going to get to that later.
We're
going to get to that later.
People believe that we live in a dictatorship in America?
I lived in one.
And I know you have.
Okay,
so you should know better than to say that we live in a dictatorship in the United States of America.
They censor the press, like he just did with the AP.
Okay.
So that's
All right, guys. Damn, man, them people just be clown. It's just a bunch of clowns on them, man. All those people clowns, man.